The gentleman doth protest too much, methinks. Hello and welcome to Game Tales, our weekly feature where we recite the stories of D&D players and the many goings-on in their adventures. Today's story comes from yours truly. It is set in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, and it takes place between A Curse of Strahd and Storm King's Thunder campaign. Special thanks to our patrons, Remy Sweeten of Winter. Do check us out on there. Without further ado, I am the Penitent with College of Lore. This is Game Tales. Take a moment to like this video and subscribe as I tell you the tale of the gay homophobe. So, if you watched our last feature, this game takes place in the same game as the Mollymauk in our home game. I said game a lot there. Story that we posted last week, and it takes place during the same time frame as the lion's share of that story. So once again, I am DMing this one. This features a character that I briefly touched on last week. Her name is Dimitra. She is a half Kalishtar, half Vistani. You can find out more about her in our favorite characters feature that we did for Let's Talk About on Tuesday. But her premise is that she was born from an unfaithful relationship between her father and a Vistani woman, born to a Vistani tribe, and when it was discovered she had the sight, her tribe was killed and she was taken and glamoured to appear as a white person, as a white Kalishtar, hide that Vistani heritage, and her father implanted several triggers into her that would basically make her mind go blank, make her go briefly obedient entirely, and do readings with her sight, her Vistani's ability to see the future. With that out of the way, while in Barovia, she had actually gotten close to Rudolf van Richten, an NPC there who is relevant to a lot of this story, and certainly relevant to her as a character. And she was present when van Richten ended up sacrificing himself to save the party from Strahd, which did leave her crushed. But one notable thing van Richten did before he died was that he lifted the glamour that had affected Dimitra's body and made her look more like she actually should, made her show her Vistani heritage. This features the other half of our party from the Molly story, as Dimitra travels with Yasha, who is another Critical Role character, and Petrina, who is a Curse of Strahd NPC who is canonically dead but is restored to life here. The three of them take a boat to Waterdeep once Barovia is free, and they return to Dimitra's hometown of Waterdeep with some degree of clout, having killed Strahd and, yeah, basically freed an entire realm. Thanks to some conversations that aren't super relevant to this story, Dimitra, Yasha, and Petrina have all formed a very sapphic polycule. Dimitra was an out lesbian but had not had a girlfriend before when she left home, and leaving is a strong word because of how people get to Barovia normally. They settle some affairs at the Adventurers Guild and are openly together and openly seen together by media and other noble people, and it's a whole thing because she bears her family crest. It will obviously go back to her family. So getting ahead of that, she comes waltzing back into her father's estate, her family estate. A girlfriend on either arm, and she greets her father. He is of course mortified, and he asks to speak to her privately, pulling her into his study somewhat reluctantly. Her lesbian entourage stands around, but they stay very close. He begins berating her for coming in here like this, for humiliating their family, and for being open in the streets. Basically, it's already gotten back to him, and he is mad about it. Dimitra debates her merit to exist, which she shouldn't have to in the first place. Her father tells her they often do things they don't like to do, which prompts Dimitra to ask if he loves her mother, and he says, of course not. He essentially says that all noble marriages are of convenience and for power and for appearances. So Dimitra's obviously taken aback by this. She tries to debate the merits of love, the idea that true love works for people and it's more important than image or anything like that, but her father just kind of scoffs and says that this lesbian nonsense has gone on for far too long. If everyone got what they wanted, most of the world would date men anyway. I don't see what you're complaining about. From an objective standpoint, they are the most aesthetically attractive. To which she and everyone else at this table just goes, what? She prods a little bit, and he stands by this. He doesn't really back down from this point. He certainly denies that he's gay, but it's pretty plainly obvious that he is attracted to men, and he's not really attracted to women. So, at some point in the conversation, it's even vaguely hinted that he might have a crush on his arch-rival in nobility, the family's arch-rival, really. She laughs because this is finally dirt, finally a slip of the mask of her father, and she could use this, not in a necessarily, outing way, but she could use this as something to make him at least listen to some form of reason. But of course it doesn't matter to him. Not that, in his mind, she'll remember or resist for very long anyway. He says her trigger word to make the mind blank happen, and nothing does. So it turns out that when Van Richten had lifted the glamour on Dimitra's body, he also removed the glamour from her mind and erased the trigger codes, unbeknownst to either of them, really. Confused, she starts to piece it together, and she draws her sword. To which he draws a pistol, but she can call for her lesbians a lot faster than he can call for guards, and Yasha pretty easily busts the door down. He lets her leave, telling her to just walk out to walk away. And not wanting to just flat murder her father, she agrees to this. What no one else in the party saw at the time was he picked up a sending stone after this, and he contacted his rival. The name of the man was Ellis Havendream, this familial rival of his family for centuries. Anthalta Mistalai, the father of Dimitra. He's a judge, a lawyer by profession and then a judge. Ellis is a brain surgeon, and he knows that Ellis had fucked up his own daughter, made her, basically shaped her brain to be as he wanted. So Anthalta calls and says, I know we've had our differences, but I need your help. But that is a story for another day. Thank you for watching. If you have any of your own D&D stories, tell us in the comments or email us and we may read them in the future. Thank you for watching this video from College of Lore. Remember to like this video, subscribe to join the party, and have a fantastic adventure.